Hello my dear students, welcome to history class. So today from your history portion, that is chapter number 3, Jainism and Buddhism, which mainly flourished in the 6th century BC, will be talking about the topic that what are the important points that we need to focus on this chapter. First of all, talking about the Jainism as well as Buddhism, which mainly flourished in 6th century BC. So we all know that according to the Jainism, the main founder is known as Buddha Mahavira, whereas in the Buddhism religion, Gautam Buddha was the main founder. So they played a very important role how to make a new religion where even people could give their support, their respect, and how to give them a proper kind of teaching as well as doctrines, whatever the religion was related with. Next, we talk about the sources. So whenever we study about any of the chapter about ancient history, we mostly study that there are two types of sources which plays a very important or vital role in order to give a lot of display information as well as vivid idea. So in the first sources we see about the literary. So in the literary, what we see normally about the poems, dramas, plays written by different authors or writers. So even under the literary sources we see among the Jain texts mainly focusing on the Bhagavati Sutta, and in the Buddhism text we see about the Anguttara Nikaya, which played a very important role giving lots of information about the ideas that how these two religions that emerged during the 6th century BC, focusing on whatever the evil causes that had on the Hinduism, with whatever the Vedas that they were following, with whatever the titular heads that was being done during those era. Next, we talk about the archaeological sources. So in the archaeological sources we get information or vivid idea from the inscription as well as pottery. Inscription, different types of inscription are there in India. Junagadh inscription, Ashokan inscription, which gives us information that yes, this was the time, this was the year when this ruler did something great for their kingdom, something great for the common people, and that ultimately became one of the great aspects for all the people as a classic example. Even the pottery, different types of pottery that was to be made by the potter, a kind of profession, and from all these kinds of field we get a vivid knowledge. Next, we see with the rise of 16 Mahajanapadas, also known as a great country, a great kingdom which mainly flourished during those 6th century BC with 16 kingdoms. And among the 16 kingdoms, mainly it was like Anga, Kashi, Avanti, Magadha. So they were the powerful kingdoms during those era who played a very significant role in order to make their kingdom very powerful, strong, with whatever the techniques, with the given training, with proper weapons, and make their empire very strong and very agile. Next, we see with the two kinds of system that were followed in the Mahajanapadas, and they were mainly known as the Monarchy and the Republic. So these were the two systems that went with side by side when there were 16 Mahajanapadas that went during those kinds of centuries, as an example for all the people that this was the system prevalent. Next, we see with the topic known as rise of Magadha. So Magadha, which is to be believed as one of the great powerful kingdom during the 6th century BC. Magadha at present it is in Bihar, and through the Magadha lots of kings they came, they gave their contribution with whatever the religion they wanted to follow and so on, and that also became a classic form of example or a classic form of ways for people to understand that yes, it was a system that people were following those kinds of culture or tradition. So when we talk about the rise of Magadha, first and foremost we talk about the geographical location. So mostly you study in geography, in a location, situation plays a very important role how to see a particular places that could be fit, whether to have a battle, to have a setting of a proper construction of buildings, temples, whatever they wanted, and that also played a very important role. Second, we see with the natural resources, what kind of resources they could bring, having trading purposes, etc. And third, conquest, having lots of battles, having lots of like a vertical expedition from northern India to southern India. After having a battle, taking all the areas, capturing, taking all the weapons, gold, etc. And the fourth and the last is known as the rulers, who contributed a lot for the sake of the Magadha to rise to a very great extent or to a great peak, and those two kings were known as Bimbisara, who reigned from 543 to 492 BC, and he made a capital in a place called Rajgir, and Rajgir at present it is in Bihar state with the capital Patna. Second ruler was known as Ajatasattu, who reigned from the year of 422 to 467 BC with lots of footsteps to be followed of his father, and he was the son of Bimbisara, and even Kunika was his nickname or his famous name, and Buddhism was the religion that were followed by both these Magadha kings, Bimbisara as well as Ajatasattu. So after reading, after getting lots of knowledge, vivid ideas about all these kinds of topics, what we see that during the ancient time, even there were lots of politics, lots of economic system, social system, evil practices, and even the battles that were fought in order to make the kingdom very powerful, strong, and to believe that yes, people wanted more and more for those kinds of things. And the last topic is known as the causes led to start of Jainism and Buddhism. With the same chapter, we mainly focus on the 5 points. What were the main reasons that led to the reasons that Jainism and Buddhism has to emerge during the 6th century BCE. The first topic you see with the ritualistic Vedic religion. That means we all know, if we talk about India, actually from the very ancient time, India mainly refers about the Hindu nation, but at present we have got more than 5 to 6 religions. So that also played a very important role, where Pandits, Brahmins during those ancient time used to do whatever the practices, yagnas, performing of rites, rituals, mantras, etc., and that were not liked by all the people. It was very costly and many more problems they were having. Second topic, sacrifices. Even the Brahmins, whenever such kind of yagnas, performing of rites were done, so animal sacrifices, bird sacrifices were also being done during those era, and people were disliking all those kinds of culture, their tradition, and their mind used to go towards the other ways. And finally, a new religion emerged, Jainism, Buddhism, and they were very much happy to accept those religions. Third, supremacy of the priest. Whoever were the Brahmins, Pandits and all, every time they used to show their power, that we are the Brahmins, and other 3 castes, they have got no such kind of equal importance or equality among those kinds of Brahmins. Fourth, oppressive caste system. All those kinds of caste system, how to do lots of discrimination between those kinds of sect or different kind of caste, creed, religion basis wise, and that were also prevalent during those time. And the last topic is known as the language problem. Whatever the mantras or rites that were performed by the Brahmins, mostly they used to speak in Sanskrit language, and that were very hard, tough language for the people to understand whenever our rites, mantras or any such kind of yagnas were being done by the Brahmins. And later on, with these 2 religions, they erased all these kinds of problem of people, and they stood as one of the great religion in India from the 6th century BC, and still today we all know Buddhism is one of the main important religion for all the Asian country, Jainism also too, and this we see overall the causes. So this was overall the scenario about the 3rd chapter, Jainism and Buddhism. So hope you have understood about this chapter. Thank you, stay safe, stay healthy.